Let's go. Yep.
Howdy, gang, and y'all are sure making a case for me to make these pre-recorded videos um, because either nobody's showing up for them. I mean, y'all are watching them on the replay, but that makes me more think along the lines of maybe these need to be pre-recorded. And I'll just go ahead and say it. I'm not mad or anything. And that one person that was in here just popped back out. I'm not mad or anything. I just want, I don't want to do a live stream when there's not going to be anybody in here to interact with. So, probably the Dick's Pics are going to be pre-recorded videos from here on out. I'll keep trying the cannon fodder and doing those as live streams. But if that doesn't take off, they'll probably become pre-recorded videos as well, unless there's somebody that wants to join me to talk about these movies, in which case that would probably work better as a live stream. So if you are interested in that, if you're interested in the movies that I'm going to be covering for either of these, please let me know, and I will make sure that that one is definitely a live stream. Otherwise, these are going to go the way a lot of the stuff that I've done like this in the past has gone, because the viewership just fell off. And more people watch it on the replay than watch me live on here. And I kind of feel foolish kind of talking to an empty auditorium on here, because the live streams are meant to be interactive. So, like I say, if you aren't interested in me doing these live, then I don't want to do them live. I'll do them as pre-recorded. So, before we get started with the movies tonight, I just wanted to remind everybody that voting is still taking place for the watch-alongs for February 22nd and 23rd. That's a Saturday and a Sunday. There are 3 choices for each one of those days. I will be having the voting open until Monday, February 17th, which will be coming up here shortly at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Hey, Blissful. At least Blissful's going to come in here and hang out with me for a little bit. Blissful, I don't know if you heard me or not, but I was saying how, I guess from here on out, the Dick's Pics will be pre-recorded only, unless somebody tells me they want to be on here and talk about whatever movies that I'm talking about. But so get your votes in before February 17th at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. At that point in time, I will be locking down the voting polls, and the movie will be chosen. So if you want to have a say-so on what movie I pick, go ahead and get those votes in while you can. All right. So, got a cannon fodder coming up tomorrow night, where I'll be talking about Operation Thunderbolt and Gas Pump Girls, gang. So which seems to be, I did not know this, but it seems to be a teen sex comedy crossed with a musical. There are musical numbers in this. I had no idea that there were musical numbers in Gas Pump Girls. But if you are interested in being on here live with me to discuss those two films, Operation Thunderbolt is on YouTube with partial subtitles. Some of it's in English, some of it's not. So if you don't mind watching it that way, that was the only way I could find to watch it. Gas Pump Girls is available through Amazon Prime. So if you've got Prime, you can watch Gas Pump Girls as well. You've never heard of that one? Which one, Blissful? Gas Pump Girls or Operation Thunderbolt? So anyway, we got some watch-alongs coming up this weekend. This is the last of the $5 or more super chats, and you get to pick. I'm switching it up a little bit and switching it to polls. We might go back to the super chat thing again. I don't know, but you never know with me. But we've got As Above, So Below coming up Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. This was a pick by Millet. Oh, Gas Pump Girls. I mean, it's not, even though I would call it a teen sex comedy, I'll talk more about it tomorrow night. But there is, I think, some nudity in it, but it's just, I think in some ways it's a little more tasteful and a little more innocent than some of the other, some of the other films that fit that type or subgenre or whatever you want to call it. And I picked one for Sunday, which will be Nail Gun Massacre. And if you've never seen Nail Gun Massacre, oh boy, are you in for a treat. This is one of the craziest low-budget horror films I've ever seen. So be sure to join me for that one Sunday, also starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And we've got an extra special bonus Valentine's Day watch along. If you don't have anything to do on at 9 o'clock at night Eastern Time on Valentine's Day, then you can join me for My Bloody Valentine, the original My Bloody Valentine from 1981, directed by George Mahalka. It's a Canadian horror film, so I would expect Russell to be in here. He's a dyed-in-the-wool Canadian. So I don't know if Russell will see this later, but hey, Russell, I'm doing that on Valentine's Day. I hope I didn't say Friday the 13th or something. I'm about half crazy. I might have. But anyway, that will be on Valentine's Day starting at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And if anybody wants to join me on the stream to talk about My Bloody Valentine, be sure to let me know so I can make sure I get the link to you. Okay, so let's get into the Dick's picks for this week. I'm going to be talking about My Seven Little Bears, aka My Bear Lady, and Paris Ooh La La, which is not only produced by Dick Randall, but stars Dick Randall. Russell, your big brother. Russell's a great guy. I like Russell a lot. And I miss him when he's not in here. And I apologize if I'm kind of sniffing and snorting around. I've got some sinus and allergy trouble right now. So, I don't know. I forgot to push the microphone over. Right, Blissful, I hope you and whoever else may be watching could hear me while I was doing this. So, let's get to it. Keep in mind, though, folks, these are not very long films. My Seven Little Bears And I watched it under the title My Bear Lady. Um, was about 47 minutes long. So it's less than an hour long. And Paris Ooh La La, I wish was shorter, but I'm going to get to that in a sec. Um, it's about an hour and 6 minutes. Um, so these were more of what, again, what Joe Bob always referred to as nudie cuties. I think parts of them were actually, well, Paris Ooh La La, I don't think that one really was a nudie cutie. But My Seven Little Bears, that one definitely was what you would call a nudie cutie. Um, and I think these nudie cuties were actually filmed in nudist camps, because there were naked children running around in them. But again, like I say, if these children grew up around everybody and everybody was naked and nobody was acting like it was any big deal, I would assume that's normal for the kids. Steve kind of, he said, "Yeah, you got all these naked adults and you got kids running around and they're playing volleyball and stuff." I said, "But Steve, if they grew up in a nudist camp, they probably don't know any different. They probably think everybody everywhere goes around without clothes on." He was acting like it was some terrible, horrible, thing. And I wouldn't be comfortable enough to go around naked in front of everybody, but I have a lot of inhibitions, and a lot of other people might. But to each their own, right? So, My Seven Little Bears, I think I'm just going to call it My Bear Lady, which is the other title. That's a little bit easier to say than the other title. Concerns a young woman who, I think she may be in England. I'm not 100% sure. Um, but she's, in a different place. She's an American and she's out of her element. And you see, no, hey, X-ray. No, I'm not gonna let my inhibitions loose. Nah, y'all don't want me to do that. You really don't. I don't think I could anyway. But we are introduced to this woman, and she is trying to order a cheeseburger, I think, or a hamburger, and a Coke. And the guy behind the counter says, "We don't have that." And she's like, "Well, what do you have?" And he's like, "Well, we got tea and uh, cookies or biscuits or whatever I forgot exactly what they call them." Um, and she said, "No, I don't think I should eat that. But she was going to eat a cheeseburger. So take that into account. She said, "I'll just have some tea." So this guy comes up to her and starts talking to her, and she strikes up a pleasant conversation with the guy. "Hey, Chris." And well, if people keep coming in here, I may go ahead and make these live streams. I just didn't think anybody was much going to show up for these, but I thank you guys and gals that did show up. So she gets to talking to him, and he offers to give her a ride to where she needs to go because she's got a bicycle and everything. And he just thinks it'd be easier, and he wants to introduce her to where he lives. And she doesn't realize at first, but he lives in a nudist camp. And when she first finds out about it, she's shocked and she's kind of appalled, and she's angry with Pat, the guy that she met, because like he just comes into where she's staying, and he's stark stripped naked, and she won't look at him. And there's an older woman that comes, and she's like, I guess she's the person that cooks for everybody, a very grandmotherly type, and they don't really show her naked, but it's obviously she doesn't have any clothes on except an apron. And what upsets me is the woman is nice to the elderly lady, but Pat, who looks to be maybe in his late 30s or real early 40s, she's just like, I think she's downright rude to him. And speaking of losing your inhibitions, after Pat saves her, that's how she ends up back at the nudist camp. Because she leaves, she said, I really can't stay. She doesn't know it's a nudist camp at that point. And she says, I've really got to go. And she gets on her bike and she leaves. And she ends up in a pond. She crashes her bike into a pond. And Pat, is feeling, a friendship growing with her. He likes her. So he says he's going to go and just make sure she got off to where she was going okay. And he finds her in the pond trying to grasp at the ground, trying to get out of there. Thank you, Chris. Chris says, everyone in here, be sure to thumbs up this video and subscribe to Dana if you haven't already. I appreciate that, Chris. Chris is, he really, promotes my stuff, as do many of you that come through here. Candace and Chris, I couldn't ask for better promoters of my stuff and better collaborators on things. So basically Pat tells her, he says, you're not going anywhere until you get some dry clothes and stuff like that. So that's when she, she stays the night at this camp. She just knows it's a camp. She thinks it's like a military camp or something like that. She doesn't know it's a nudist camp. But when she wakes up the next day, she finds out that it is a nudist camp. And to get back to the other part, like she basically says she's going to leave, and Pat says, well, you can leave now or you can leave later. Because in the daylight, they have this rule at the nudist camp that I think through the daylight hours, you have to be nude. And then when about 6 o'clock in the evening, you can put your clothes on and go out on the town and stuff like that. So Pat says, well, you can go out in the daylight, but you got to, basically you got to have your clothes off, or you can wait till 6 this evening. You can go to the gate and, you can go in these pajamas that I give you and you can head on out. Well, she thinks about it for a while. And like I said, she really irritated me the way she treated Pat. Like I said, she was nice to the elderly woman, but Pat, she just seemed to turn on him. And I was like, why are you turning on him? The guy's just like choosing a different lifestyle. It wasn't like he was trying to force his lifestyle on her. I did not, Chris, but I definitely will be getting that because I love stripes. And I heard you talking about stripes as well when you were talking about the Bill Murray movies. So speaking of losing your inhibitions, she eventually, and Pat is so happy. I mean, some people might think, well, this is kind of goofy, but they're low budget and stuff, gang. So Pat is heading up a beauty contest, and all the contestants are nude. And then you have all these men that are, rating them. And then all of a sudden, Pat looks up and he sees his friend, because he still considers her a friend. He hated to see her go. And she's smiling, and she's obviously, she's naked. and he smiles, a big smile spreads across his face. Now, again, I like this one a lot better than the next one I'm going to talk about. And here's some reasons why. It had quite a bit of comedy to it. I think there was an innocence about it, even though there were nude people everywhere. Um, and I think it taught something about tolerance, about having tolerance for people with different lifestyles. And so I would have to say I would give this one, I'm going to give it about 3.5. I know I don't have the half yet. I promise, gang, I'm going to get that at some point. I don't know why I'm being so, lazy about doing that. Okay, so that's My Bear Lady. And then the second one I'm going to talk about tonight is Paris Ooh La La. And it stars none other than Dick Randall, a guy that travels to Paris to see the sights. And oh boy, does he see the sights. Um, both of these films were in the early 60s. This was not what I would call a nudie cutie. And something, I don't know why it bothered me, but there was really no one talking to each other in the film. There was just voiceover of Dick Randall over the action of the film. So I thought Dick Randall's stuff was funny. Some people, I saw ratings for this movie, and they said, basically Dick Randall couldn't act his way out of a paper bag, but I don't think he was too concerned with that. I think Dick Randall was just having fun. They always said that Dick Randall was a very colorful character. Um, and, he surrounded himself with, like, I guess like prostitutes and porn stars and stuff like that. That's the kind of people he hung out with. And so does that make him a bad person? No. It's not the people I would choose to hang out with. But whoever you want to hang out with is whoever you want to hang out with. But they always said he was a very colorful and jolly person to be around. So I think he just had fun with this movie, or any of the movies that whether he had a bit part in them or he had a longer part like in Paris Ooh La La. So he basically goes to a lot of naked dancing, floor shows where the women have little pasties on their boobs and, uh, you know, not a whole lot on the lower part, but it covered up more than whatever this was. I don't know. It was 25 minutes, 20 to 25 minutes of a woman slowly taking what little she had on off. And I don't know if you would call it gyrating, just rubbing her butt and her front half on a pole. I'm not going to, you would just have to see it. I'm not actually going to get up and show you what this lady was doing. But after about 25 minutes of this, I was like, oh my gosh. And all the while, this first dance scene is going on. Dick Randall's character just uh, sits beside a woman. That's what I can't understand. Why are women watching these women dance naked? That would be like me going to a strip club. I'm not, I'm not too keen to see naked women, and these women appear to be straight. Because Dick Randall comes in here, he sits by a woman and he just starts rubbing her arms and rubbing her legs. She had a skirt on, and they were acting like, it's no big deal. I do this every day of the week. And so that woman left and left with a guy. And then he, started cuddling up with this other lady. So the majority of the movie was just, I don't know if you would call them interpretive dances or what. You had a man and a woman dressed as like cave people, and the man was like throwing the woman all over the place, and they were doing these dances like that and stuff. And I was like, oh, okay. And then he just basically rips her clothes off. And it's like, all right. Blitzel says I'm alive for a while, and Dana starts watching Disney Nasty. I don't know what you would call this. Um, and he goes to a floor show, and he ends up evidently, and guys and gals, you don't see Dick Randall having sex with this woman, but you do see this woman getting undressed and taking the longest shower in recorded history, where she's bending over and pressing her butt up against the shower curtain. She bends over and scrubs her legs and scrubs her butt and does, and she does this a whole bunch of times. But like I said, it's the longest shower in recorded history. This woman took a shower longer than I take a shower, and Steve thinks I'm in the shower forever. Okay. So if you don't mind all that, and if you're of the male persuasion, then you might not mind seeing all this female flesh. But it was a little too much for me. So I liked Dick Randall's performance in it. But that's basically all she wrote on this one, folks. A lot of naked dancing, a little bit of flirtatious banter between Dick Randall and the ladies in this film. And yeah, that's about it. So I'm going to give this one, I don't do this very often, but I'm giving it one deadite out of 5, and that's for Dick Randall's performance. And some people would say, why on earth? Because some people would think that he was the worst part of it. I think he was the best part of it. So go Dick Randall. And also, I believe this film was directed by a porn director as well. So that might explain some of it, even though I would not call this film pornographic. It's definitely not any hardcore pornographic stuff. But I guess that is all from me for tonight. But be sure to tune in for Cannon Fodder, the Golden Globus era of Cannon films. And I will be talking about Operation Thunderbolt, which you can watch with partial subtitles. Some of it's in English and some of it is not. But you can watch it on YouTube. That's the only way I know that you can watch it for free. And if you have Amazon Prime, you can definitely watch Gas Pump Girls, which, like I said earlier, is a cross between a teen sex comedy and a musical. So if anybody wants to join me for Cannon Fodder tomorrow night, starting at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, please let me know. And I will be sure to get you the link to join me on that. So stay tuned for that, for the watch-alongs coming up this weekend, for As Above, So Below on Saturday, and Nail Gun Massacre on Sunday, both starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on their respective days. I've got a Movie Munchies that will be dropping at some point this month. So be on the lookout for that. It will be, Valentine's related because we are in the middle of February. Also, I'm planning before the month is up to be offering a discount on the Deadites on Deck shop. So be sure to get your Valentine, a candle or a t-shirt or what else we got? We got hats, we got mouse pads, um, tumblers. I'm trying to remember everything that I've got. But check out the site at deaditesondeck.com. And remember, I do custom work. So if you're on there and you don't see something that you want, oh, I've got Terror Time tees as well. All homemade by me. So Booga Booga Bears are still available. I will still make one of those for you. But if you got something that you want to see if I can make, there is a handy dandy form on the homepage and you can fill that out. It will go right to my email and I will take a look at it. If I think that I can do it, I will quote you a price. If we are in agreement on everything, I will set to work on that as soon as you send me the moolah. So anyway, that is all from me tonight. Thank you, Chris, Blissful, X-Ray. Thank you, guys and gals, for showing up and keeping me company in the chat. For those of you that didn't get into the chat or didn't feel comfortable getting into the chat, thank you for watching tonight, because I did see there were about 5 or 6 people at one point. And for people that will watch this on the replay, thank you as well. And I'm out of here for now. I'm off like a dirty shirt. This shirt ain't dirty, but I'm off like one. And I want to remind everybody, as I always do before I get off of here for the night, to be kind to one another and blaze that trail. Have a fantastic rest of your Tuesday, folks. And I'll see everybody next time.